I nailed it when I said that. That was crazy.
There you go.
Is we have parallels to EU with the Fate as well, but then Power, he was starting most of the day on the Rayman earlier, and then it was during his previous set that we saw him swap over to like the most lightning fast, the most blitzkrieg Hattori that I have kind of ever seen in my Brawlhalla career.
Yeah, you're used to seeing Spear kind of second tempo, waiting for you to press the issue, you know, going for a lot of get off me options, and sometimes, you know, catching dashes with side light. But Power's like, I'm going to run up and neutral light 4 times. I'm going to start calling out jumps. I'm going to put you in these blender situations off stage where you're never really quite comfortable. And that's exactly what Power's looking to do on the Spear. But use, you know, we've been talking about the Scythe, but the Orb actually playing a big part in winning that last set, especially against these longer range legends in the Spear.
He's going to have a 45-degree entry point with both weapons. He has the Orb Dare, and then, of course, he has Scythe Dare. He has Scythe Nair. But Power really isn't going to have necessarily the best 45-degree angle defense option. Spear is extremely lateral, you know, except for the, like, get-off-me tool of the neutral air, which is kind of like this force field around and on top of you. As the 2 side signatures come out again, very, very lateral.
Yeah, and as you were saying that being kind of the blind spot of Spear is that 45-degree angle. Even, and the down air actually able to outrange the Nair too. So a move that you're kind of looking for as safety, almost a shield as a Spear player, is not going to be as successful with the Orb, but Use is in the opposite to contrary belief, actually closing out the high percent with Scythe and racking on the damage with the Orb. So it's been a pretty interesting flip so far for Use.
And it was done after a landing punish from Power. He thought he could just straight raw land with a ground pound on the main stage. Use was able to back up from it, punish it, and then get the KO off of it. Power's able to turn things around very quickly, though. Gonna stick with the sword. He's gonna just do one little quick juggle to get back over on that sword. Weapon spawn comes in right on top of Use. He picks up the Scythe.
I do like the sword kind of having more agency and more control of the tempo here, being one of the burstier options and just one of the most consistent weapons in general at punishing a lot of what Fate's going for. Interesting going for that Sig there. You were talking about that earlier on where it's like not a Sig you see quite often. It puts your hurt box out before a hitbox and can be scary, but Use finding some success there in that option.
Yeah, Power wasn't really ready for the range that it had. So if he would have thrown like a move out in front of him, Use was kind of like landing on top of him. So he probably wouldn't have even found a hit there because he was close enough to the edge to where he was kind of a threat, but he didn't expect Use to have the reach with the down signature. Oh, I thought we were going to get an in-sig there. There's the in-sig. Big spike. The dodge is gone. There's the down air, and that's the second stock. Power only about halfway through the second of his own.
And I talk about this stage in particular because we see this as a game 1 choice a lot, but when you have a wall so small, it kind of forces very linear recovery options, especially when you get sent at that bad angle, and good on Power to just have the perfect answer with that down air to close it out.
Little bit of footsie game going on. Power got a little bit impatient throughout that neutral light. Use overspaced it. Oh, he just stood there. He wanted a bigger punish.
Yeah, Power at this really high damage here, going into the dark, deep reds as Use looks for that one big open up, or any Sair really here will be able to close it out. And I like that Use is not fishing for it and actually kind of mixing up a lot, and not really mixing up the options that Use is going for, but mixing up the movement to lead into those options. Nice, able to close it out there. Once again, contrary to what you would think, it's the Orb doing the damage and the Scythe closing out the KOs.
It seemed like for a moment there, the way Use was positioning himself when he had the Orb in his hand, that he was really trying to find a side light, side air option. But he was like, oh, I'm over on the right side of the stage, and I'm on the right side of Power. So if I pick it up, it's going to be sending to the left. That's the wrong side of the blast zone. It's probably not going to KO. So instead of fishing for it and hitting a side light, side air that might set up to the edge guard, that might set up to the KO, that might put a little bit more damage out, he was looking for more of the definite KO option. Ooh, that was a big punish. Sending Use over to the wall. Power. All of the active frames of the neutral light. Yet another neutral light coming out. They've swapped positions. Power making his way back on the stage. In light again.
Big edge guard opportunity. Can Use get back safely to the stage? The side airs are coming through. Not overcommitting off stage because of the reversal potential that Scythe has. Playing and respecting the range. There we go. That's going to be a big Sair. Can you tap it in here with the Spear? The recovery is able to cover the high option, and that's going to be Power taking game 1 over Use. Oh my goodness.
I didn't expect Power to come out and go big mode. Even though like Power's a very good player, but it just seems like we haven't really talked about Power for a long time, especially in like our top 3. even though he's PR6, so he's reasonably close, but we just haven't really had to talk about Power as a top threat because we have Kaina, because we have Lores. All of those players, because we have Use as well, but all of a sudden, the stable of South American players that are major top players in their region who are going to be major podium placers. Okay, Use firing back with a classic Nair Sair. The number is, it seems like it's growing. It's growing by the day, the number of top players in South America. Yeah,
and as the narrative kind of shifts and the attention shifts to a region as strong as SA, you start looking up at the upper echelon and you forget people are slowly rising up, and that's exactly what happens. And you get now Power, who's up a game on Use here to make it into top 4. Side air is going to reversal that situation. And I like that up weapon toss and gets the neutral light out with the unarmed there and checking the aggression. Gets the Sair off the side light, a clean conversion from Use, and flipping it once again now using the Scythe to rack on the damage. So Use absolutely insanely versatile on this character. We've been talking about that a lot, where a lot of these players have a lot of character knowledge and utilizing both tools really, really well. And Use showing that here as well.
He's still in the early stages of orange, now has Power into the yellow, sending him over. Man, you're seeing those sweat beads come out. Even though it's not immediately going to lead to a KO, because Power's still in the yellow, the fact that Power's having to blow all of his movement options every time to get back over to the wall just goes to show you how strong Use is at edge guarding and corner guarding.
And that's the downer that has terrorized so many people's dreams. He's looking to find just extra credit in any way possible. I mean, if you're Use here, you might even be looking for another stock, as Power not going too far off stage, but nice, barely placing the sword right into the stone and able to cover the wall very cleanly. Again, Demon Iron playing a big factor in that. When the wall's so short, those down moves are just going to be so strong.
He went with a dash jump into the ground pound to make sure he could play back while still having the option to be a threat over on that edge. Use wasn't ready for it, and he ended up getting caught.
Not going off stage either, too, so still keeping control even if you didn't connect. Big open up with that forward weapon toss, doesn't quite find a conversion. Use playing very, very aerially so far here. Sword, you're used to seeing a lot of jumps, but Orb is going to be equally as good at doing that as well. Use playing kind of dangerously that close to Sword, but it's been working out so far on the Orb. Goes back, gets the weapon refresh back onto a Sword once again. Next up is going to be the Spear, so looking for a big open up, gets the dare into the recovery, just some extra bread and butters. The dodge gets expended by Use, but not quite any conversion from Power. I feel like Power is respecting Use's defensive game so heavily, because when you're at such high damage, you're worried about getting reversaled by a recovery move and then losing your chance to take a stock from beneath someone.
Use has just done such a great job. Back-to-back in lights. Swapping back over to the Orb. We've seen a lot of scythes so far. He's doing such a great job of just keeping Power's power, I hate to say that, at bay. He's just doing such a great job of putting a limiter, a governor like you put on a car here in the United States, where they can't go over 155 miles per hour, even if the engine is capable of that. He's done a good job of just putting a rate limiter on Power.
You're using your AC too much in the winter or in the summer. You gotta chill out with that one. Exactly.
We're about to have rolling blackouts here in the.
He's used the rolling blackout of this bracket. We're gonna see if he can take out Power here. And dancing with the Orb once again, playing very crafty, not swinging a lot on the Orb as well, and just waiting for the opportunity to get a whiff punish with the side air. Especially in this matchup in particular, Uses really leaning on the Orb to contend with the speed and the aerial prowess of Sword.
Oh, he touched for just a second, and then the high movement speed means he can jump and move through the air more quickly to get out of the range of that attack, so the landing wasn't punished. Use gonna tie this set up 1-1, but you can see it took a lot of damage, 614, and Hattori is not a takey legend. Base stance gives 4 defense, 1 more because of the defense stance puts it to 5. So not necessarily the daintiest legends out there, but definitely we're not talking about Sir Roland.
Yeah, exactly. And you see there a pretty even damage split between the Scythe and the Orb, which I think is good to see from Use. I like to highlight one that he's using a lot, but now he's really getting into, I'm going to use both to the maximum potential. I'm going to need to pull out all the stops to put an end to Power's crazy run here at Trials of Ymir, South America, top 8.
Meanwhile, on the other side, Power has been relying a lot on the Sword. That's been the thing he's mostly been using as this set has gone on, compared to the explosive spear that we saw earlier against Lores.
Yeah, and I think that just kind of goes to show how effectively he uses positioning and just not really giving any of the big open ups that you're expecting to get as Spear. It's not quite working on a player like Yuz at this caliber of play. Big open up with the down air and immediately checks the aggression with a neutral light from the Spear. That's going to be good for Power, but yeah, every time I get hit, I see a dare send offstage, I get worried. I'm like, man, this could be the end of that stock because Yuz is absolutely lethal with the Scythe so far.
And he's hitting a lot of these dares. It's that 45-degree angle we talked about. Power's throwing out a neutral light. Yuz is just floating above it. Out comes the dare for the whiff punish. Side light comes out. Yuz is floating above it. Out comes the dare for the whiff punish.
Yeah, that down air from Power, interesting to see. Not quite a lot of usage on the Spear, but that's going to be a great way to put out a hitbox and avoid these juggles, but it's not quite the juggles that are causing the problem.
Oh!
You're getting hit by a lot of Sares, and now the reversal from Power is going for a deep ground pound and gets called out by Yuz instead. You cannot go off stage versus Yuz saving that option and getting the ground pound to whip punish. Absolutely beautiful stuff from Yuz.
You saw that he wanted the unarmed engagement when he went with that down air that Power was able to dodge through. And then he saw the writing on the wall and the ground pound came out from the unarmed kit for the spike down, getting the KO, getting the first stock. Power turning things around, hitting the down air, had the weapon toss there just in case it was necessary. Evening things up, but still has about 50 damage on this stock. Yu's gonna be hunting for a weapon. He finds it over to the Scythe. The neutral light comes out. Power just kind of stays in place. But you see, he's staying in place, but he's moving back and forth because it just like messes with the timing of your opponent. Like, am I going right? Am I going left? Am I going right? Am I in your face? Am I back?
And it's such a big difference than how Power was utilizing the Spear in the last set. Playing really like high respect with Yuz, playing that dance game where they're both in the corner, they're both kind of feeling out, can I dash in the center? Can I try to burst into the range of each other? And it's really crazy because this is game 3. It kind of feels like they're feeling each other out as if it was a game 1. But this is game 3. Looking for the set advantage here is Yuz with this edge guard opportunity. Power once again able to dodge through the hitboxes from Yuz. Yuz trying to read a low recovery, and now the reversal situation doesn't quite play out. Yuz choosing to just recover back to the wall. Power now having Yuz in the corner once again, but the reversal with that side air and picking up the orb. It's going to be scary to get off the corner here, and finally does, and it is a back and forth on these ledges.
Look how back Power was playing.
Yeah.
I guess he was expecting Yuz to come over the corner because he felt safe, and then he would actually run past Power. That's why Power was waiting for the turnaround into the neutral signature. Like Yuz thinking he's safe getting through Power, being like, aha, I am back over towards the main platform. All of a sudden he eats an insig and he's taken off the top. So that was a really interesting edgeguard choice that came out from Power.
And I like this mix-up from Yuz. It's actually one that he's been employing quite often, going for like a weak weapon toss up and then immediately going for the unarmed jab, because people find that opportunity. They're like, oh, it's my turn to burst in because they threw their weapon away, but it's a crazy mix-up on orb. I've never really thought about it.
And it's, oh, he did that again. That time, there wasn't an immediate punish that came out from Power either. Yuz has done that 2 times exactly through this entire set. But yeah, you're talking about that like ghost up weapon toss.
Yeah.
It just draws the eye.
Yeah.
I know I look at it every time, and then all of a sudden, there's a fist about to make a connection with my face.
Yeah, it's such a smart, it's just like a great tempo check for Yuz. But Power evening up the stock count and even percents here as we get into a true last stock situation here on Demon Island. The weapon toss away from Power now is going to give Yuz the weapon advantage, looking to just get any open up, but Power's been playing absolutely elusive, cannot find any meaningful connections, which you need as the Scythe. If you're going to play this Scythe, you have to get those big open ups. Dashing in and out, goes for the rising side air, just looking to whiff punish a lot of what Yuz is doing, and positioning really well as Power, utilizing that double jump in neutral as well, a lot to avoid those immediate anti-air options. Nice forward light, and goes for an immediate pickup on the Spear. Yuz now has a little bit of an opportunity to get some damage, but the edge guards haven't been much in terms of Yuz. Like we're used to seeing big carry-off combos from Scythe players. Yuz is kind of using it more as a way to just continue to rinse and repeat the edge guard cycle. Yeah.
And it feels like because of that, Power's way to get through that is to play like, and I mean no disrespect here, but let's wait for this game to wind down before I go into my point on his Spear. Yuz is going to end up taking that game. But he was playing like, and again, I mean no disrespect here, he was playing a very like painful and boring sword.
Yeah.
Where he wasn't going for like D-light resets, he wasn't D-light side air, D-light down air recovery, anything like that. He didn't have the explosive power that he had against Lores earlier. It was really just like, Here's one neutral light. 3 seconds goes by. Here's one more neutral light. 3 seconds goes by. Here's a side air. Maybe here's an air. 4 or 5 seconds goes by. So it's a really like painful sword if you're taking down your opponent in light by in light.
Yeah, it's like kind of the feint of aggression, where it's like you're using a lot of dashes and you're kind of weaving in and out of this threat range, one that you're used to seeing sword players swing at. We see a lot of gravity cancel downlights, for example, as a way to burst in and then immediately put out a hitbox that leads into a combo. But what you're seeing is it's not really that. It's kind of just like you said, it's like just going for an end light and going for a Sair here and there. And it can work, but like you said, very, very painful. Not only as used, which can get a little frustrating to get hit by the same move over and over, but kind of painful for the sword player that's really needs to find.
It feels like I'm doing all this work, man. I hit him 10 times. Why is it yellow?
You're so high APM, like dodging left and right and moving and dash jumping, but you're not finding any big open ups. And I think Hughes has been playing that the same way kind of with the Scythe, where it's like not going for the crazy carry-offs, not giving opportunities to get reversaled, but just continuing the rinse and repeat of like, I'll just send you back off stage. I'll just send you back off stage. I'll send you back off stage one more time. And it works out for Hughes as we see a, this is a Thatch counterpick, so some blasters here.
What hold on. What does he know? What is he cooking?
This is the first time all day I've commentated blasters, I think.
What is he cooking with this one? I honestly forgot this skin existed because like I was playing doubles with Duke like 2 weeks ago and somebody played this skin and I was like, I don't know who that is. I see a sword in their hand. That could be a million different legends. I got no idea who that is. And he was like, that's Thatch, bro. And I was like, I've never seen that skin in my entire life.
I'm really curious to see what gives. Like what is going on with this Thatch counterpick? The blasters coming out. I haven't commentated the blasters all day, and for a reason. I mean, we don't see a lot of representation with that weapon.
It's because blasters are not thought of very highly in the meta, and us blasters players are out here struggling every day for crumbs, dude. We're out here pounding these streets and we get nothing back.
Power looks to give you some crumbs here. Hopefully we can see force game 5 on the counterpick, but so far the blasters not doing much, just actually.
Yeah, the blasters were not working. Hughes was doing a great job of getting in the zone where blasters have that little gap. Exactly like that. It has those blasts in front of you. It has the range, but in between that and you, there is nothing. It is just air.
Dead zones. Big empty dead zones on the side of blasters. As you see Power and kind of utilizing a lot of these jumps to try to set up where Hughes is directly underneath, but Hughes is playing so quickly where you can't really pin down with the consistent pin down options with blasters where you're going for down airs and down lights to try to catch people bursting into your range. Hughes is just like, how do you catch this guy? So fast.
Yep, that's something you have as Thatch, is you have very, very low defense, but you have high strength, and you have very high movement speed as well.
It's fitting that he throws cannonballs because it is a glass cannon. This is the glass cannon.
Okay, he's finding a little bit of momentum with his blasters. Nothing huge, though. It's single pokes.
Yeah, and going for a lot of, I was talking about it where not really going for a lot of down airs and down lights, and now we're seeing that come out from Power, going for the down air into down light, not quite giving the conversion. Hughes looking very confident in that blasters matchup. What has been paying dividends has been the sword so far, so I want to see Power kind of pick up the sword here. Finally does get to the neutral light.
The sword is definitely working better for him than the blasters did. He wasn't able to find like the huge damage output that you really need to be looking for on blasters. He's not finding the dare resets. He's not finding D-Light Sairs or D-Light dare recoveries or any of that stuff. It needs to stick with the sword. I don't know if this Thatch is going to be it. Like, he's going reasonably even so far, but I worry. Nice down air. Hughes actually makes the contact with this time. Last time, Power was able to dodge through it. Oh!
Could have went for a recovery there, I think, on the side of Hughes, and that stick is going to be able to close it out. We were talking about where it's like, well, it seems to me that Power is just hitting a lot of like singular hits, so it makes sense to me that he went Thatch to do a lot more damage, like on the less hits that they're getting, having more of that KO power, but Hughes able to close it out there. Now it's going to be a last stock situation, potentially tournament life for Power here.
I want you to know, PJ, I'm showing incredible restraint and maturity here by not constantly going on a rant about blasters.
Yeah,
it's like,
I know.
I know. It takes everything for me to hold it back because I'm seeing Power fall prey to the same things that I do in ranked against weapons like the Scythe. So this sword is really the main thing keeping him alive here.
Yeah, we have Marthritis in our game where you can't find a KO at high percent. I call it Blasteritis. You can't find a hit.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Yeah, I've never heard of Marthritis before. That's really funny.
Yeah, and Blaster players got Blasteritis. They gotta find a way to break the mold. That's what Power's going to look for here, as Yuz has absolute complete control.
Oh,
Gets to
that's
recover
nice.
to cover high. And barely avoids the weapon toss, but the
dodge is gone.
breakdance.
There's the down heavy, the breakdance to close that one out, and Yuz takes it 3-1. I'm not going to get on a rant, but I do want to point out he did 65 damage on the blasters. Let's just look at that, ladies and gentlemen, how good of a player that Power is, and yet he was hardly able to make a color change with the blasters.